It was the tragic death of a little boy that resulted in a once prominent medical examiner losing his license.
Until now, the boy was known in official records only by his initials. But an exclusive News Channel 5 investigation put a name to the case and found that some high-profile investigators who say Jeffry Kelton Skaggs has not found justice yet. Tonight, our chief investigative reporter Phil Williams reopens a case that some want kept closed.
This child almost screams from its grave for justice.
It's been 5 years since Jeffry Kelton Skaggs died, the victim of a severe skull fracture. But the little blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy hasn't been forgotten.
This is one of those cases that this will not go away.
Not by the former director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, not by the state's chief medical examiner.
This is a case where we just want to resolve questions.
A life that began in promise October 20th, 1999, ended in mystery 15 months later.
Sorry, 911, where's your emergency?
Here inside this trailer in Murray County, the home of his mother's boyfriend, something happened. The family says Jeffry fell and hit his head. Rushed to Murray Regional Hospital, barely clinging to life, the little boy was quickly flown to a hospital in Huntsville. There, he died.
In my humble judgment, it's been a travesty of justice.
Former TBI Director Larry Wallace notes that Jeffrey's case was first reported to the Murray County Sheriff as possible aggravated child abuse.
That's why I, as the pathologist.
But Dr. Charles Harlan, the longtime medical examiner who had his license revoked last year for incompetence, performed an autopsy. He ruled it an accident. Case closed, or so it seemed.
We felt it was never fully investigated.
We had injuries that didn't match the stories, the multiple stories provided, the stories that changed over time.
State Medical Examiner Bruce Levy says other physicians who examined Jeffry questioned what really happened. An affidavit from a Huntsville neurosurgeon insisted the boy's injuries would only be consistent with a fall down a flight of stairs or from a second-floor window.
We have a skull fracture, and the skull fracture is very suspicious by its location and by how large it was. It extended from the top of the head all the way to the bottom of the head.
And as this picture shows, Jeffrey's right leg was already in a full cast. The family says he fell then, too. But Levy says Harlan never looked for signs of abuse.
He never bothered to even look at that leg fracture. He didn't do any sort of skeletal survey. He didn't x-ray the body.
I came away totally convinced that the proper thing to do in this case was to exhume this child's body and perform a second autopsy.
But when state officials asked the judge to exhume Jeffrey's body as part of an investigation of Harlan, District Attorney General Mike Bottoms, a longtime Harlan friend, refused to sign off on it.
General Bottoms was very closed-minded about this situation. He was determined to rely on the results of Dr. Harlan's autopsy, and there was no change in his opinion.
General Bottoms, can we talk to you, sir?
And Bottoms also didn't have any interest in explaining his decisions to us.
General, can we talk to you about the Skaggs case? Sir, why do you not want to talk about it?
And when we finally caught up with him, he claimed we were the ones with a truth problem.
I told you, you don't tell the truth, and I'm not interested in being interviewed by you. I'm not going to be.
The truth that Bottoms does not want to discuss is right here in black and white for everyone to see. It's the order revoking Dr. Harlan's medical license. And in a little notice provision, the state's medical board concludes that Jeffry Kelton Skaggs was the victim of a crime.
The child's actual manner of death was a result of non-accidental trauma.
Meaning?
Meaning that in the judgment of the authors of this article, it was a homicide.
Murder.
It was murder.
I'm not saying this is homicide. What I'm saying is there are serious questions here which may end up leading to this being a homicide, but it could very well be an accident.
Still, District Attorney Bottoms refuses to ask for a new independent investigation.
So what about this little boy? What if you're wrong, sir?
General Bottoms made a decision. I just hope he can live with that decision.
If you don't do it and look, you're never going to answer these questions in the end.
So we're really talking about justice for Jeffry.
We are. It's absolutely a case of justice for Jeffry.
The former TBI director says the DA should either reopen the case and authorize a full investigation to answer all the questions, or step aside and let a special prosecutor do it for him.